Hi, I'm Dennis Stratton, original guitarist from Iron Maiden, now currently working with Lionheart, and you're watching Susi Media. Basically, if it's a show that I've been doing for many years around Europe, working with bands all over Europe, from Italy, Germany, France, Holland, everywhere. And when we came here 2.5 years ago for the party, there was always an idea that we could actually do it here. So with Mika and Jerry and everyone else that's helped out with this, it's been able to do that. And it depends now on the Maiden fans. That I know in Finland, Maiden have many fans, but this is more aimed at the old school Iron Maiden that were around for the first two albums, first of all, but then also it's also aimed at the youngsters, the kids that can go to an Iron Maiden show now and never hear these songs played. So the first two albums is one of those things that is stuck in everyone's memory, and a lot of fans always say that they're the best two albums. So at the end of the day, it's if they like the early songs, we hope they will come to see the show. So yeah. Well, first of all, it's an honour to be part of an album that's stood the test of time, and also was such an iconic album. As I say, the second album we worked on while I was still in the band, pre-production and everything else, but I never got to record the album. But yeah, it's fantastic to be part of that lineup, and from that album, we never knew that it would be such an epic album. And yes, and it's still nice to hear people say that it was a great lineup, and they're two of the best albums. So it was a bit punky in the early days, and so. But yeah, that was the way the band was in them days. So yeah, it's very proud to be part of it for so long. Can I make a very important point here? I was never involved in the album, the original Iron Man. I was asked to go into a studio in London and up north of England to record some songs that were written by certain people in a band called Fastway. I was asked to record these songs on an assumption that we may be doing a solo project. At the time, I was a member of Praying Mantis, which I was for 15 years. This was done in around about 1990, 91 or 92, I can't remember. But that album came out illegally, unbeknown to me. I wasn't asked permission to release them songs, although the songs weren't my songs. But I was taken into a studio and I was fooled and led on by a very good fraud person who lied to me and told me that we would be doing these songs for maybe a solo project. He got me singing the songs and playing guitar on them, and the next minute the album came out, which I knew nothing about. My record company, Pony Canyon in Tokyo, contacted this certain person, and he said, then sue me, and he just carried on releasing the album on bootleg. It was never released legally. He had no right to release the album without my permission, but he went ahead and done it. I've tried to correct this on Wikipedia, but whether or not people listen to that or read that, yeah, it's a shame, because it was great times. At the time, I was running the Cart and Horses at Stratford, where which is a lot of history of Iron Maiden, and I remember taking the phone call from the record company in Tokyo at the Cart and Horses, and I spoke to this person and told him what he was doing was wrong. He didn't listen, so he carried on releasing the album. And as you know, with having two members of Iron Maiden on an album, he sold a lot of records, but no one saw any money. So And there's also other albums that he did with British still, English still, All Stars, everything, with loads of musicians on the record, and nobody got paid. So I just wanted to make that clear that that album was released without my permission. I'm not sure, no idea. Unfortunately, the guy that released this album went on to manage him. So whether or not they were in it together, I don't know. I don't care. It's one of them things that's it's past. Let it go. I was hurt, but you know. No, I haven't spoken to Paul since. Well, I haven't seen him. Not because we haven't spoke because when we did the tour of Japan with Praying Mantis, when we recorded the album Live at Last, Paul came back and wasn't happy with the way everything went in Japan, and just lost contact with him. He wasn't too happy. He moaned on social media about the way that he was treated in Japan, which is news to me because Japanese people treat everyone so well, and so very polite people. So it's not that I haven't seen him. I haven't wanted to see him. It's just that our paths have not crossed. He got himself into a little bit of trouble in the UK and went away for a little while, and then now he's back having surgery and trying to reinvent Paul again. I don't know, you know. So other people have been with him lately that might know more about it. Yeah, we were there every 9 months. We did an album every, I think, 16 to 18 months. And it was just basically a schedule that we did every year. We would write songs, do some festivals, do some shows. If we got a tour to go on, we would do a tour. While we were writing the songs, we would be working on gigs, and then it came to a point to record the album. We'd go into the studio for about 2 months, maybe 3 months if the time was there. We would record the album, send it to Pony Canyon in Tokyo. Then we would go and rehearse for about 2 to 3 weeks. Some of the old stuff, some of the new stuff, like you include in the gigs. And then we would go to Japan, and we used to do a tour sort of once every year or once every 18 months. It was great. It was yeah. We saw a change because when we went there in 2001 and 2, and it was big crowds and big venues, and then slowly you saw the economic side of the country go lower, and it was a shame because they were in a bit of a mess with their money situation. So the gigs got smaller and the crowds got smaller, and then because you had these new American bands coming in, the hip hop stuff, and that sort of took over Japan, you know, with the clubs and the big venues. But yeah, it was fantastic 15 years with Mantis, yeah, really good. No, we did the last album we did was a best of Praying Mantis. Um, Basically, we got a message through from the guy that used to look after the band in London, and he said that Pony Canyon were cutting down staff, so they were losing the heavy rock section. They were going to concentrate more on the pop, hip hop, that sort of stuff. The rock section was being let go, and so what they did around about 2005, could have been after, I don't know. They released a best of, which we didn't have anything to do because the songs were already recorded. So basically, we stayed together to the end of 2005, may have been 2006, and then we just sort of called it a day for a little while because we didn't have a record company, and Tino and Chris sort of like parted company a little bit. And it wasn't until later on, could have been 2008, 2009, where it was, they asked me maybe reforming the band, and and I was busy then with other projects, and getting back with Lionheart because we were asked to do a new album after all them years, and we'd always been writing songs together, and the band Lionheart never actually disbanded. It's just been known as a band that have musicians in the band that work with other musicians. We've worked with other projects, so it hasn't changed now. Come 40 years on, 42 years on, you got Steve working with Michael Schenker, Rocky's working with Grand Slam, Clive's working with the Kossoff band. You got Lee working with Sweet. It's one of them bands that get together. Like we're trying to finish our next album now after the Reality and Miracles. We only finished that because of lockdown, because we were all stuck at home for a year or 2 years. So we got Reality and Miracles finished, and in the second lockdown, we started writing songs for the new album, and now everything's back to work. The band are all over the place, like I'm here in Finland, and so it's hard to actually get the five of us on the same hymn sheet, if you see what I mean, singing on the same notes. It's nearly finished. Hopefully when Steve gets back from the Schenker tour, he'll be able to get back in the studio, but yeah, it's always been a working project that takes time, and when people got time to sit at home and work on the songs, you know. Yeah, that was really nice to do the Sweden Rock, because we'd only played a couple of shows together, you know, in Nottingham, and we'd not much rehearsed the stuff, and we were doing some stuff from Second Nature, I think, in Sweden Rock, and the guy that runs it, Johannes, I can't remember his name. We were his guests because we stayed at his house. So it was really nice for us to have this little bit of special treatment, you know, being a lower band. But we thoroughly enjoyed it, and we're waiting to go back once we've got the new album finished, because we've got something to promote, you know. Yeah, I think, funny enough, I got a message through this morning that Metalville, our management, Hugh, I can't think of his name now, Holger, Koch, Metalville Records are actually pressing a reissued, remixed, remastered Second Nature today in gold vinyl, and it's going to have 2 bonus tracks. And when I only got the message this morning that Rough Trade are actually printing the albums now, so you know, who knows? It'll only be the only gold album I'll get from Lionheart. I know that, but it's brilliant that they're still doing this work, you know. So yeah, I'm hoping that the new album after the Reality of Miracles, I'm hoping the new album will get finished before the end of the year. Yeah, at least before the end of summer, and then hopefully release at Christmas. I don't know. Fingers crossed. Well, no, yes. Funny enough, we would never hold anyone back from a project, but he's been working on this for a couple of years before, and we had a tour booked in Spain, and we said to Lee, look, we're never. He said, I always want to be part of Lionheart. I want to write songs for Lionheart. I want to record the songs, but he was offered this project, which meant relocating to LA for about 2 to 3 years, and we just said, look, go with our blessing and keep in touch, and if you get time, send a couple of songs over and all that. But what we had to do was find someone that would fit in for that tour of Spain, because when the tour was already booked, so we needed a singer straight away, and Jimmy Anderson was available, and Jimmy's great singer, but what he's good at is learning other people's songs, because he always sings in like and they are our covers band. Not much original music. So he's got a knack of learning songs for the covers gigs he does very quickly. And so we gave him the songs, and yes, he learned them. He came on the tour with us, and yeah, everything was fine. We got back, and because we weren't working at the time, Jimmy was doing some other stuff, and then we found out that Lee, the project had fell through. So basically, we said, look, we want Lee in the band, and Jimmy helped us out for the Spanish trip. So there was no hard feelings. It was great. Well, the biggest memory was it was 24-hour a day sunlight, and I'd never seen that before. The gig was strange because of bad manners, and a ska band with Maiden was just a strange setup with two bands. But I knew Dougie, Buster Blood Vessel. I knew him. He used to come and watch me play in London, and he's larger than life, but great guy. And I remember it very well because when they did their single, Lip Up Fatty, me and Dave Lights went on stage and we sung the song with them, and we did the Lip Up Fatty dance with Dougie. So I remember that very well, and me and Dave Lights dancing on with that lot, mad. But also sitting on the beach at 1 o'clock in the morning with the sun shining up, just very strange. I do remember the hotels had no curtains, so I couldn't shut the curtains because I couldn't sleep. But yeah, very strange. But yeah, fond memories of the early days with Maiden. Yeah, always.